Welcome back to Alberta Camping. John and I have been in the trailer since June, 29th?
Yep.
And it is now August 7th. I didn't know that we were going to live in our summer home for this extensive amount of time, but it's actually turned out really well.
It has. For the most part.
I pretty much have 6 weeks off. And John, you had 2 weeks off, and then you had to go back to work, and then you decided to take
Another week
off. But it was really awesome because his territory where he works is around this area. So you were able to use this like you would use a hotel.
Exactly. And save the company some hotel money, which of course makes the boss happy. And I got some work done. So it worked out well.
Yeah. And I had some alone time.
She did.
I went and explored. It's at Red Lodge Provincial Park. And this is one of the campgrounds that you reviewed when you were out on the road for work.
I did.
And we thought, well, we should maybe go and camp there. And I'm glad you made that decision, that we were going to travel all the way from Patti's Flats out in Kananaskis to here, which is maybe a 10-minute drive west of Bowden.
Yeah. It's 13 kilometers west of Bowden.
So it has actually turned out... Whoop, vehicle driving past. Turned out to be a really nice campground. It is full the majority of the time, which I was really kind of surprised about during the week.
We're going to do an updated video on the review for this campground because there's a couple of things that they've changed.
Yeah.
We come in, when I did the review, it was A, B, and D were first come, first serve. Now they're down to just D, which isn't so bad because D is the best loop, more or less.
Yeah.
But they've cut back on what's first come, first serve here. So if you are pulling in here looking for a site, you've really only got about 20 sites. Well, maybe about 25 sites that are first come, first serve now.
Yeah. So there isn't a lot. But this is the best loop.
It is.
I have to say.
It's right on the river, and they're
nice sites.
They're probably the largest sites in the campground.
You know, the site that we ended up with, because when we pulled in on a Sunday, or was it?
Yes,
yeah, it was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, oh, wow, it'll be no problem. We'll get a site. We were shocked. There was only, a choice of 4 sites?
3 or 4 sites available on a Sunday afternoon.
Surprised. Super surprised. So I was a little worried about some of the ones that were available because they were really close to the group camp and it was coming up to the long weekend. So I didn't really want to get stuck there if it was like a partying kind of atmosphere over there. So we pulled into this smaller site and it's been actually lovely because right across the road is the river. And I got to float down the river today.
She did.
It was awesome.
Here's some video of Heather floating down the river.
I have to tell you, here's the thing. We bought these boats for the boys who are 18 and almost 21. The 21-year-old just got a job, so he couldn't come out. And, an 18-year-old without any friends here, I kind of have to, do some cool things and fun things and take a risk and do them with him. So what do? I get in a boat. I was a little nervous. I have to be honest. I was like, I don't know about this. And so John drove us down to the end of the, B loop? The day use area?
Yeah, the day use area.
So he drove us down there with their boats. And we got in. I was like, uh-oh. And the water seemed to be going pretty fast. It wasn't going fast. I was freaking myself out for no reason. And I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. There was it wasn't really deep. And there was little rapids. And when I say rapids, there was a little ripple. It wasn't really rapids. But it skidded you along a little bit. And then we got back. And we got out, right by our camp. And then the poor Colton, our 18-year-old, he just wants to get into dry clothes and, play games on his phone or whatever he does.
Hide in the trailer, basically.
And
We don't think he likes camping.
and I
I'm pretty sure he
convinced him.
doesn't.
I convinced him to go down the river again because the sun started to come out, and I wanted to do it one more time. I had so much fun. I think I was smiles the entire time.
Yep.
It was a blast. I would go again. I would. I'd put my wet bathing suit on and go back into the river.
So Heather's given this place a 9.9.
I am. The reason it's 9.9 and not a 10 is because of the mosquitoes. But I have to tell you, there's a shower house here. There's a little park store. So you can get ice, the firewood. You get big bundles, and it's only $8 a bundle.
Yep.
I really love the sights. I think they're great. They're good. And having the river right here, there isn't a whole lot to do around this area. But Dixon Dam is close by, and Glenifer Lake. Sylvan's only, an hour drive?
45 minutes.
45-minute drive. Red Deer's close if you want to go into town and go shopping. I've done it.
You don't really need Sylvan Lake, though, because you got this river here.
Oh, yeah, people are in there all the time.
And it's not as busy as Sylvan Lake and touristy. And, yeah, it's nice and relaxing.
Yeah. We went down to James River General Store. That's exciting. We went down there on Sunday when they had their farmer's market.
Yep.
It wasn't really a farmer's market. It was people selling their wares.
Well, there's a couple of eggs.
There was a couple of eggs and some tomatoes.
Yep. Wasn't much in the way of vegetables, but there was eggs and tomatoes.
No, there's some socks that were worth $40. I was trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do.
$40 socks.
They're pretty
A
special.
little much.
Yeah. And then we went to the John Stone Art Gallery, where we ended up buying prints. And John Stone, he's 85. He's had some international recognition as an artist. And I'd never even heard of him before. But his these are prints. We didn't actually see any.
No, he had an original there.
One original.
Yeah.
But the details in his painting and he does a lot of birds and animals. Western. He's a Western artist, I would call him. But he was there, and he's 85, and he had a story behind every painting. So things that actually happened, or things he actually saw, photographs he had taken and then drawn, and then times where he made some changes to the painting, like the wolves. He had to have a reason why that one looked like that, so he put some deer tracks in the snow.
Yep.
He was really interesting. So we spent how much time there? A long time.
Oh, a good hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost difficult to leave, but we ended up buying a few prints. And they're undercutting themselves when it comes to buying artwork.
Yeah.
They really need to stick with their prices. They were giving people deals all the time. They gave us deals. But it was really interesting. I'm glad we went in there. And then I showed them to my 18-year-old, of course, and he wanted a print, so we had to go back today. So we got a couple more.
Yep.
So we have art to frame and hang. It's probably going to cost us a heck of a lot of money just to frame them.
Costco.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And then Heather went Saskatoon berry picking as well.
We did. I got a lot of mosquito bites there. But I tell you the honest truth, people are probably thinking I'm really strange. Before this trip, I've never had a Saskatoon berry before. Didn't know what they tasted like.
And for you Americans watching, those are June berries, because you guys can't spell Saskatoon apparently, or say it. I'm not sure.
There's a lot of words I can't say.
That's what Wikipedia says.
That's what Wikipedia says?
It says that they changed it to Juneberry in the U.S. because they had trouble saying Saskatoon berry.
Oh. Huh.
Weird.
But I have to say, Saskatoon berries are kind of like a blend of a red grape and a blueberry in the taste.
With a touch of almond.
Ooh. I'm going to go have to have some more Saskatoon berries.
Figure that out.
There was a touch of almond flavor?
Touch of almond.
Oh, interesting.
So a couple weeks ago, I posted a video about solar. And you guys can watch that now. I'm going to do an updated video showing you a little more detail of how our system's set up. But one thing we want to bring up is our trip to Patti's Flats. And we came across what I would consider probably one of the most inconsiderate neighbors that we've ever parked next to. And we were there for actually 18 days, so he was there for a weekend, this family.
I wanted to go home.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
This guy had a nice big Arctic Fox. It was a big fifth wheel. These are the type of units you can easily throw 6, 8 batteries into them if you want. Tons of room on the roof to throw in solar. But no, this guy had 3 generators.
3.
And would continually run these generators.
From 8 o'clock in the morning.
Till, well, the first night he was there, he ran it till just after midnight before the conservation officer showed up and told him to turn it off.
And they're bear-like dogs.
They had
3
dogs
of them.
that were bigger than the bears that we saw. By the way, here's some pictures of some bears that we saw.
Love them. Except for the one that tried to get in the barbecue. But other than that,
wasn't so much fun.
no.
Anyway, so yeah, this guy ran 3 generators. Well, not all 3 at the same time most of the time, but yeah, most of the time he had a generator going full time. So it kind of comes up, if you're going dry camping, you don't really need AC power full time. And if you do, you probably shouldn't be going dry camping.
No, you need to go somewhere where you can plug in and have power.
Yeah. That's really ignorant to your neighbors. I mean,
It was really annoying.
We don't mind a generator running for a couple hours.
No, during the day.
During the day. If they run it for 2, 3, 4 hours, no biggie.
But after midnight?
But yeah, continually to run it after midnight.
But the conservation officer came over, got them to turn off the generator, told them to put the big, gigantic dogs, who are obviously not used to going into the trailer.
Yeah, we think he was also planning on leaving these dogs outside all night. They were just behind one of those little fences that people bring. These things were...
They were massive. They were
probably
big
a good,
dogs.
Probably about 175-pound dogs, and he had
And
3
of them in this little fenced-in area.
The first night, he actually had one of the generators running to put fans on these dogs. So they had 3 fans running in this little pen to cool the dogs down. So now, again, if your dogs can't handle the heat, you probably shouldn't be going camping with them when it's summer. And you basically, if you have to run AC
Or if you're
power,
running here's an idea, running the generator for the air conditioning, but the dog's inside.
Well, he wasn't running his air conditioning. That was the thing.
Oh.
We couldn't figure out why he would need AC power that much. They weren't sitting inside the trailer. They were outside.
No, it was weird.
With their family.
I don't know.
around the fire.
We thought maybe it was the refrigerator.
And even that, if it's a residential refrigerator, you can run your generator every couple hours to keep it cool. You don't have to keep it going full time.
No, we were confused.
And if you have a residential refrigerator in your unit, you might want to reconsider dry camping because you bought a rig that's not really made for dry camping.
No.
So keep that in mind. Unless you outfit that rig with a bunch of solar and batteries to run that residential refrigerator. We've looked at units with residential refrigerators, and those are ones you're going to park somewhere. You're not going to be taking that to a dry campground. You shouldn't be anyway. So.
Yeah, we'll never get a residential refrigerator.
No, you're going to make sure it's going to have the propane option because it makes no sense if you're driving around with these rigs to have a residential refrigerator.
Yeah, that was probably the worst.
Yeah, it's probably
we've had 2.
We've had bad experiences with a couple other ones, but this one was the worst in the ways of inconsiderate camping.
Well, it wasn't just that, but the dogs were barking nonstop for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
They had a child that screamed and whined, and nobody even talked to the child to get them to stop. They just let them scream and whine pretty much all day long.
Yeah.
And then the generator is running constantly. It was like, and they weren't very far from us. That was the unfortunate part. It happened to be one of those like sites that nobody wants to camp in because it's too close to other people. And it's small. The fire pit's close to where the trailer would be.
Yeah, the rig just barely fit in there, so it wasn't really built for that size of rig.
No.
But yeah, I think the worst part was the generator. Even when one ran out of fuel, he quickly got up and started another one. So I mean, we're just sitting there shaking our heads, thinking, why do you need to have AC power and you're sitting outside?
Yeah, I was ready to go home.
You're cooking outside, and there was no reason for it. And it just, it just didn't make sense. So,
I think it's the first time I've ever said, I want to go home.
yeah, it ruined the weekend for us. And I'm sure other neighbors, there was people in tents as well. And the fact that he was running it after midnight before the CO showed up is like...
But you did notice at exactly 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
the other 2 nights.
The following night, I think they must have told him the rules of 11 p.m. and they right at 11. But at 7 a.m. he would be up, starting that thing up again.
Yep. As soon as he could.
And it definitely wasn't just to charge the batteries, because if you listen to a generator, you can kind of tell them when they're idling. Ours is an eco model, and when it's idling, you can tell, and not taking much juice at all. And I think his was similar. The batteries were charged, so why he had to run that full time, I have no idea.
No.
To give you an example, for us, we've been camping for almost 6 weeks. And we've used our generator 5 times, and pretty much
only in a storm.
Pretty much all those times have been either a cloudy day or a rainy day. And if it's raining, you're going to get away with it a little more because people are inside or gone from their trailers.
Yeah.
And if you're inside your trailer and it's raining, you're not going to hear your neighbor's generator. But we also make sure we put our generator to a position that's not going to affect our neighbors as much. This guy didn't care at all.
No, he had it facing right to us.
He did have his third generator in the front of his unit, which I believe was probably hooked up to there's a generator space on fifth wheels that they can hook up to, and I think that's where he hooked it up to.
And not only that, this guy, when he pulled in his Arctic Fox, this gigantic rig into a small spot, he was like right up against the trees.
Oh, yeah.
And he took big, huge clippers and cut the branches off the trees and threw them into the forest. I could not believe people were doing this.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? How inconsiderate.
They were around his pullouts, so he was kind of, he was just...
They weren't hurting anything. So he was cutting them off. No, I think he was cutting them off so that he could use that as his pee spot. And then I get to watch him pee from my sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Yes, it definitely wasn't a fun time with these guys. And the other funny thing was they had more families show up and they decided to put more tents down. So they came around in front of our site and
squeezed past our vehicles.
Their son or something decided, well, he'll just drive into the forest with his vehicle and he'll just pitch a tent right in front of his vehicle.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, and now we have their campsite, which is really visible to ours. And now we have a truck and a tent right beside us that is forest, and it's not supposed to be there.
No.
So we ordered wood.
Yeah.
Just so the camp host could see it, because she wouldn't normally have seen it. But
so we kind of just said, did you approve this? And she went, no.
Because I'm like, I don't want...
She fixed it.
I don't want them there, right beside me, being a campsite. And all they had to do was move the tent onto their gravel. So we did kind of a little bit of a tattle. But at the same time, I'm like, you can't be driving through the forest.
So yeah, our 5-6 weeks almost sitting in our trailer. We've used our generator as we need it.
Yeah, not much.
During storms or whatever. We're out here. When we were out at Beaver, there was nobody really running generators very often. We weren't that close to any neighbors there.
No, we were really secluded. And we had the Beaver was nice, though, because we were in the loop right at the river, and it was a fast-moving river.
Yeah.
And you just hear the sound of water all the time. And it was stormy and rainy, and so we used the generator there.
Yep. If it's stormy and rainy, and that's not a problem.
I don't think even if it wasn't, because the river really...
But when it's a nice evening and everything's nice and quiet, nobody wants to sit and listen to your generator all day long.
No. Anyway, happy thoughts. We've had a good experience here.
Yeah, here we haven't heard any generators, really.
We've heard a couple, but they're in the distant. And
nothing like that.
No, and people are considerate. They only run them for a couple hours, and then they're done, and it's daytime. It's not a big deal. What I have to mention, though, about Red Lodge is it really is a family campground. I think it's because the river is I would call it a lazy river. It's really slow. And there's a big shallow part with lots of sand in the river where people are going in with their children and swimming. But people, like, it's just during the day that you hear people on the river and walking past the sites, and because they're floating down, then walking back to their site with their little boats.
Yep.
So there's lots of kids here and lots of families. But it also makes the evenings really quiet because it's not a part of your campground.
You hear some people up on their campfire.
Oh, they're laughing and talking, but they're not.
It's the same as most campgrounds we go to. We don't run across too many partiers. You see groups who are out enjoying the campfire, and we're fine with that. But yeah, here it's a little quieter most of the time. But yeah, it's that time of year as well.
Did we ever tell them about the Sam Club?
No, you haven't mentioned the Sam Club.
I have to tell you, they were so cute and lovable and wonderful people. I don't even really remember their names now. But we were at Patti's Flats, and it was during the week, and Loop A pretty much empties out during the week at Patti's Flats. So we're thinking that we're going to have the entire loop to ourselves, which is at times really awesome. Other times, when there's bears in your sight, maybe not so awesome. But all of a sudden, the end of the loop started to fill up with these big rigs. And I thought, this is really strange. Why are there so many people here during the week? And then the site next to us filled up, and then one on the other side of us. And you have to understand, at Patti's Flats, there is quite a bit of distance on the ones that are beside you. So I thought it was really strange. But then these people were very friendly, and we were walking down to the bathroom, and they were having a chat with us and introduced themselves. And then we came to understand that they were all a big group. I would say the youngest person in the group was maybe 65?
Possibly.
65, maybe? I think everybody was retired. And they were just sweet people. They were very nice. And they said, oh, we're going to have a potluck tonight. You're welcome to come down. And I thought, well, that was really nice of them. And so we had met the people, and we knew some of their names, a few of them. So we didn't go to the potluck. We just went, no, that's okay. We don't need to do that. But we'll grab a drink and we'll go down. So we go down. We take in our chairs. And they're in a big circle around the campfire. But they have the picnic table over top. And it turns out that somebody's allergic to smoke. So they can't have campfires. So we just walked up and said, hi, we're the outsiders. Because we were the only ones in the loop that weren't part of this club. RV club. And it was really interesting. It was funny. They were cute. They were lovely people.
Yes.
But at about 8 o'clock,
time to go to bed.
All of them went to their trailers and all of them went to bed. So we were the only ones having a fire in the loop. So the Sam's Club, they were lovely and very considerate people. Very nice. Even when the ladies gave me a flower. Mm-hmm. Yep. They're very nice. Their happy hour is one drink, and it happens about 4 o'clock. Yeah. And then they don't drink after that, and they're in bed by 8. I don't think they really had campfires.
No
the people
fires.
next to us had one during the day, but that was about it.
Yeah. And they weren't officially part of the club either.
No.
They were just considering joining that club.
Yeah.
That's the Sam Club of Calgary division.
They were very lovely people. I have to say, I have been so excited about the wildlife I've seen this summer. Mm-hmm.
She's seen a lot.
For me, it's a huge amount.
Usually animals do not love heather.
No, like
they disappear, they go into hiding.
Like I didn't believe there was wildlife until this summer.
When they actually appeared.
When they appeared. So we saw a mountain goat, a few. We've seen chipmunks. Lots of chipmunks. Deer. Oh, a gazillion deer. Yeah, driving around Kananaskis. You have to be really careful driving the roads. We've seen a ton of squirrels. I love squirrels. And they come and visit us. One was in my shoe the other day, reading a book in my chair, and I had my feet up cross-legged in my chair. And I looked down and I saw movement. There's a squirrel in my shoe.
It's true.
So we saw Blackie. Blackie is a bear. He's probably about, I would say 2. I think maybe we talked about him before. I'm not sure. But he had been, that was at Patti's Flats. And he'd been scared away by one of the people from the Sam's Club. But then he came back towards our site and he was eating berries and he looked at us. We looked at him. We took a couple pictures. We had the trailer door wide open, ready to run. Because he was only, 25 feet, 30 feet
Yep.
from our site. But he wasn't aggressive and he wasn't coming towards us. He was just eating berries. We were ready to run if we had to. Then we saw Nigel. And Nigel, he was, the barbecue, it was in the morning and the barbecue was on the end of the picnic table. And he was trying to get in our barbecue.
Yeah.
So I happened to be in the trailer. You were still in bed. And heard a noise. I looked out the window. There's a bear. And he was obviously a little bit more nervy because those people, the inconsiderate people.
Yeah, they were up cooking breakfast. Had their
breakfast.
dogs out, and dogs didn't bark. Had
No.
their generators going.
The generators were going. And this
bear had
bear
no problem
came
with
into
that.
our site. Like, he wasn't afraid of anything. I'm surprised he didn't actually go towards their site. Because
Yeah,
that's where the food was.
We weren't even
cooking.
on the edge of the campground either. We were more in the middle.
Yeah.
So he had to come into the campground quite far to get to our site.
Yeah, it was he was nervy. So Nigel, I wouldn't want to meet him anywhere. I'm glad I was inside. So all I did was, and the windows on our trailer are blackened, so you can't see in, but you can see out through them. And so I cranked open the window and I went, "Hey, bear!" And he turned and he looked towards the window. Of course, he can't see me. And then he just scampered away. So we took bear spray to the bathroom. I made you come guard me.
Yep.
I need to go to the bathroom. Which was nice, and then warned other people as we were walking about
Watch out for the bear.
watch out for the bear. We also had some moose. His name was Beavis. He walked past the trailer. What else have we seen?
All kinds of critters.
Yeah. Another thing that's been really cool this summer is how clear the skies have been the majority of the time at night. And I love looking at the constellations and seeing, like, we saw the International Space Station a bunch of times. We've seen Jupiter and Saturn, and
Daily.
yeah, it's been awesome to see the stars, the constellations,
Yeah.
the Milky Way. You saw a shooting star last night. Was it last night?
Well, the Perseid meteor shower's on right now, so
Right.
I saw one. Just one. But it was
Yeah.
only like 1 an hour, so I lucked out and saw the one.
So no, it's been good. We haven't even put a tarp up here. Usually we have a tarp up over the fire because you never know if it's hot during the day. A lot of times we'll get thunderstorms at night.
Like today, it's been cloudy most of the day, and it cleared up in the afternoon, and we're supposed to be getting thunderstorms here for shortly, so that's coming. It's getting a little gray and a little
Yeah.
darker, as you can see.
We don't have a tarp up. Should we put a tarp up?
No.
But this would be the only night not having a fire.
The shower's not supposed to be like steady rain.
So we'll be able to have a fire at some point?
Probably.
Can you promise me that?
No, but we'll try.
Thanks, John.
And we had a night we didn't have a fire.
We did?
Yeah.
When was that?
At Patti's, I think.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's been a night we didn't have a fire. It might have been here. I don't know.
But anyway, we've been back and forth to the city.
Yeah.
John had to work, so we went back in for a few days. And then we went back in to celebrate Colton's 18th birthday because that was a big deal. And it was fun.
So next week, we'll be actually parking the trailer for a week because I got to work.
And I have to start back.
And then after that, we may go over to Emerson Bridge Park, which is north of Brooks. We'll do a review of there. And we may park there for a couple of weeks over the September long weekend. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to check basically how the weather is going to be. because if it's going to be crappy weather, just not really worth pulling it that far.
No, because we spend all our time outside.
Yeah.
And so, like, we don't sit in the trailer for extended periods of time.
But luckily, Brooks is in the dry belt, so it doesn't get much rain. That part of Alberta hasn't got much rain in the last few years. But they do get thunderstorms and tornadoes, and that'll keep Heather happy.
There was, we were sitting here, what time was it at? In the evening, when the emergency alert went off.
Don't know.
So John and I were talking.
7 or 8 o'clock.
John and I were talking. And we had seen on our weather app, we got warnings about severe thunderstorms. And so what would we do if a tornado was coming towards us? Like, what would be safe? Well, first we'd go to the shower house because we know that would be a solid place to be. But we're like, what would we take? Because when you're in a panic, you don't tend to take things that are most important. So we brainstormed some ideas. And so we're just sitting there and we're talking, gabbing. Both our phones go off with a tornado emergency alert for this area. Well, I jumped into action. I grabbed, this is my list, my pillows. And somebody did comment on one of our videos about how important those pillows are. Mm-hmm. So I put everything on the couch during this, right? So I got the pillows. I got our stuffed frog, which was a souvenir from Book of Mormon. If you've seen it, you know about the frog.
Enough said.
We got Robert, who is a little haunted boy that sits in his rocking chair. If you've seen Ozzy and Jack's world tour,
yep,
you'll understand who Robert is. And then we have Jimmy, which is John's new camping gnome. So those three were in the pile, as well as my purse and your wallet.
And the camera gear.
And the camera gear. And that was it.
It's true.
That's all because everything else is replaceable. But those things weren't. So we were ready. We had everything ready. I could scoop it up off the couch. So we were waiting to hear and watching on our weather app. You can track there's a radar, so we could track it.
It was north.
So it wasn't actually coming towards us.
It was northeast of here, up by Markerville, heading towards Sylvan Lake.
Yeah, Sylvan Lake had, what is it, a watch or a warning when it's like, take cover?
Warning.
Warning? So anyway, Sylvan Lake got the warning. We got the watch.
Yep.
So that was exciting. And then I said to John, it's like, can we go storm chasing? No, it's too far away. We would never see it.
45-minute drive to probably be disappointed, so.
It was only moving 20 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
we
but that
would be
area
moving
is 45 minutes away from here.
But we don't need to get like right under it. That's the thing. We just need to be able to see it.
Right.
And we would be moving a lot faster than it was moving. So we would catch it.
Well, next time, jump in your car and off you go.
I will. I'm going to take your camera equipment.
No.
Yes.
Take your phone.
I can't drive and have the phone. I'd have the camera on the tripod. I'd have it all set up in my car.
Okay.
The sunroof open. Mm-hmm. We could be in the eye of the tornado. Anyway.
That's why Heather wouldn't make that good of a storm chaser, actually.
Because why?
You'd make it through one storm and be dead.
Chase my storm. Mm-hmm. I love storms. I'm one of those people that hear a storm coming, I run outside to go look for it.
Sometimes.
There was little people coming into our site.
Mm.
There's a little path between this site and the next one over, and you can't really even see the other site. But he's a man camping by himself with a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old?
Yep.
Yeah, good for him. Yep.
Only here for 2 days, but by then he should be crazy. So.
He'll be exhausted.
Yep.
But
Definitely.
no, good for him. Nice that he did that. Brought the kids out.
Mm-hmm.
We bring the kids out once in a while. They're not kids anymore.
They're not
We're
worth
par-
bringing, really, because they get bored.
They don't get... Well, no, I have to entertain them. I play games with them, and
No, you tried
We go
taking one down the river, and he's inside, like, sitting on his phone again.
he's tired.
From what?
I exhausted him.
Yeah.
I have more energy than he does.
Got him out of bed for a couple hours, and he's exhausted.
He's a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have all those conveniences growing up.
No, we had to go out and play.
Yep.
Yep. And at 18, I was gone out to live my life.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Not me.
You're a girl. That's different.
Oh, don't go there, and you're not putting any of this in there.
So, are we done here?
We are. We're done. Well, thanks for popping by, Alberta Camping. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Happy camping.
Take a walk down the river tonight with a lot that's on my mind. There's some things I